Oh my! What? Yo, that's a Hall of Fame terrible take right there.
No, it's not. It's true. It's so true.
What?
Boy just choked. Straight women booty and let the ball go.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you.
LeBron James
puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound Bosh. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Irving and Curry. One-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
Oh yeah, but we'll get to explaining and debating in a second. What's going on, Joseph?
Hey, living.
WNBA Finals start tomorrow night. The New York Liberty took down our Las Vegas Aces, and Lisa Collier will be going to the finals with the Minnesota Lynx. Shout out to St. Louis. But Joe,
we out here. It's the year of champions for St. Louis. Just saying.
Hey, you might.
It might just be. It might just be.
Before we get started, though, I do want to throw this up there. Boom Fantasy. We got y'all a better offer. $100. Clearly wasn't doing it. So now your first bet is risk-free up to $250. You just deposit that money into your account, place that bet. If it loses, they'll give you the money right back. Again, that's up to $250. That's only on your first bet. So Boom Fantasy, check it out. They've added some more games. Made some tweaks to the games that they already had. Great experience. Go check it out. If you like underdog fantasy, go check out Boom Fantasy. Up to $250. First bet on.
If you're in Missouri, vote for Amendment 2 so I can legally gamble on sports and not have to drive to Illinois. Thank you.
Also facts.
And give back to public school with the tax revenue, allegedly. You know how that can go. But anyway.
Anyways, let's get into the basketball, Joe. The semifinals did not disappoint. A lot of really good basketball, good games, great matchups. One of the series went the way we expected. The other one didn't go the way we exactly wanted. Maybe secretly expected, but didn't want to admit it.
To be honest, I did change my finals prediction.
That's right. So you went 0 for 2.
Yeah,
that's great. That's crazy.
It was looking good though. It was looking good for a minute.
Yeah. So let's talk about the semifinals, Joe. Let's spend a little time here because they were really good matchups. Let's start with our Aces and the Liberty. The Aces' quest for a three-peat is officially over now. Similar to the Nuggets in the NBA, just never quite looked right all season. We did the exact same thing where we bought that they were figuring it out and turning a corner as the season ended. They just couldn't quite get it done.
Yeah, at least the Nuggets had an excuse. They lost some key pieces, role pieces that people didn't realize that they really needed until they got into playoff situations, and that defense didn't look quite the same. So,
yeah,
the Aces just
never quite captured his Murray. The Aces, right. Yeah, they looked a little tired. They looked a little, they looked a little out of sorts. So let's talk about it, Joe. What was your ultimate takeaway from the Aces and the Liberty series? Did you feel like the Liberty elevated their game from last year when these two met in the finals, or did you feel like this was more the Aces taking a step back and kind of regressing from last year?
In the beginning of the series, it looked like the Aces didn't have any connectivity on the defensive end, where it looked like what we were worried about during the regular season was a lot of individual play and not a lot of group team championship style play. And it showed a lot on the defensive side of the ball in the first two games. And Becky Heyman even brought it up to her team and brought up how the too many open layups, too many easy shots. Who cares if you live with them making a 26, 27 footer, but you can't live with the open layups. And they got a little competitive in the middle of the series, but when the middle of the series happened and they start playing better defense, great offense is always going to win against great defense. And that's what it looked like. That's just what it was to me. I thought Liberty, they were just playing so well offensively and the Aces weren't quite at that defensive level that they were last year. And Liberty were able to take advantage of it, and they were just lights out offensively. And when they're lights out like that offensively, there's not really much you can do because they got a dynamic duo. and that's just a scary duo, especially when they're shooting lights out like that.
Yeah, I think for me it was more of a Aces regressing than I saw Liberty taking a huge step forward. I think the Liberty did play better. Um, my biggest takeaway is similar to yours. I thought defensively the Aces were just not connected. They didn't, and it's kind of this whole thing that I've been talking about basically the whole WNBA seasons where it just hasn't quite felt like they were playing with the same purpose that they did last year. A lot of individual play, a lot of just kind of hero ball on offense, and like you pointed out, like Becky Hammond pointed out, they gave up way too many easy shots to the Liberty. You can get away with that when you're playing, in the first round. You can get away with it against the Storm, who don't quite have the firepower that the Liberty do.
Right.
When Brianna Stewart sees one go in, it's up from there. Like, it
Seriously,
doesn't really
man.
matter what you do defensively. The only game that the Aces really looked like they had a concerted effort the entire game was Game 3, the one game that they
Game
won,
three.
and they were connected on defense, talking, communicating, helping each other out, making the extra play. Offensively, too many times, I also feel like I can't say that it was completely selfish, but they just didn't look like they had a plan. I mean, I was watching Game 4, and I'm just getting there frustrated. How does Asia Wilson in the fourth quarter, when it's time, it's money time, she goes 4 minutes without getting a touch?
It's
And it's not
insane.
that she's not working. It's not that she's being lazy. It's just that they keep passing the ball around the perimeter. It's just like Asia is a very willing passer. She's not one of these bigs that when she gets the ball, it's just stuck there, and she's just going to put a shot up, whether it's over one
Right.
person, two person, three person. No, like, she moves it, and that creates good offense, and they play with an advantage. And this is another thing that just drives me nuts when I see it happen. I see it happen all the time. My Heat have a bad tendency of doing this. You get an advantage on offense, and you start looking for too perfect of a shot to where you end up losing your advantage because you have overpassed the ball, and it's just like, guys, at some point, someone just has to take the open shot. Like Kelsey Plum, if you get a open shot, I just want you to take it. Like, of all the times that I've seen Kelsey Plum gun, 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 now all of a sudden we get to a crucial moment right now. We've got an advantage off of an Asia Wilson double team. She kicks to a corner. They drive baseline. They swing it to Kelsey Plum, and then now she wants to shot fake and drive. No, just put up the good shot. Like they they gave up so much on offense, and I think that was part of their issue with defense is they weren't scoring efficiently, and they were able to run and get easy buckets in transition. So I think a little bit back to the drawing board offensively, and we'll see if they can regroup next year and kind of get it figured
Uh-huh.
out.
Becky not gonna
But
be there that long anyway, so
you think she's eyeing NBA?
yeah, she's not staying that long.
We'll see. I think she's gonna stay. As long as Asia's there and still playing, I see Becky Hammond wanting to kind of ride that out.
Do the
That's her
pop
Tim
and
Duncan.
yeah, Zach or Tim Duncan. That's fair. That's fair. But what if they don't get back to the championship next year? You still think she
I,
grinds
I, I
it
think a
out?
lot of it. I think a lot of it depends on the
Who
whole
they keep
makeup. Yeah.
around? Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about the other series though. Connecticut Sun losing 5 to the Minnesota Lynx. What was your takeaway of this series, Joe? I know what mine was, and it kind of pains me a little bit, but what was your takeaway on this one?
Uh, Connecticut Sun made me feel real comfortable about choosing them in the beginning of the series in the first two games. They just looked really good offensively. You know they were going to come out stout defensively, but when they had
Mhm.
three players, it just seems like they have spurts throughout this season where they have three players that all three click and they have a 20-point game all at the same time, and that can scare you. And that made me think that they were going to be able to get this through. But like I even said in the last series, Nafisha Collier, man, great offense gonna beat great defense any day. And I was just surprised how she was able to take over. She didn't really have that much help, but what she did and the way she was able to assist, and she's literally Russell Westbrook of the WNBA. She does everything, and she's gonna give her 110% every single night, and she makes her teammates better. and it was just amazing to watch her play against the Sun, who's a great defensive team. But once she figured them out, they just couldn't do anything with it, and it hurt the Sun offensively because they were so focused on trying to stop Nafisha Collier, and the way she impacted the game was pretty amazing. She definitely needs to be up there for MVP considerations next year if she
And
continues this
second this
trend.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I love the Sun. I love how they play. I really do enjoy how they play. They
Miami
just
Heat
don't
without Jimmy
have.
Butler.
No, that's literally what I was saying. Like they are the Heat without Jimmy.
Yeah.
Like they just need that one person that can go get the bucket. And a little bit of it was unfortunate matchup for them because Alyssa Thomas can be one of those players that can kind of find ways to get herself a bucket, not when Nafisa Collier is her primary defender.
Nope.
That was kind of game set match right there. Nafisa was still able to do it offensively, and what really killed the Sun was letting game 2 get away.
Yeah.
They had
Seriously.
Nafisa.
They had
Nafisa
it.
Collier
They had it.
was inefficient. She did not have a good night, but they still found a way to get the win. And I think the player that deserves a lot of props, who was their third leading scorer in the regular season, but has now jumped up to their second leading scorer and been talking that talk the entire time, Courtney Williams has been a menace. She has been a menace. Mid-range killer. She even shot the 3 really well in game 5. That was just such an X factor for them to get that little bit of extra scoring to go with Nafisa because Kayla McBride, not her best series. I think the athletic wings and guards of the Sun defensively really kind of bothered her. She just never really looked comfortable in the series to me.
Might happen again too. Go ahead.
It might should be a little should be a little bit easier on her when she's offensively. But one person I just want to give a shout out to. I know she lost. She's bad too, Joe. But Dejounte Carrington, my lord, she had no quit in her.
Clamps.
They could have all packed it in at halftime of that game 5 and just said, "All right, on to next year." Not her. She was locking up. She was getting steals, creating deflections. Dejounte Carrington can play on my team any single day, every single day. I don't care that she's not the most efficient. She's not the most efficient person offensively. Although she was an improved offensive player this year.
Did she get improved? Yeah.
Yeah, she won Most Improved Woman of the Year. Like, she's making the strides offensively, but what she brings immediately every single night defensively.
Is it really Most Improved Woman of the Year?
Might be player. I don't remember.
I
know some of their awards say woman, some of them say player. I can never.
I say that's a grandiose statement right there. Like, damn, not the player, the woman. She grew a lot. God damn. What did she do? She stopped drinking or something? The fuck? She went. I feel you.
Hey, she can play. She like that is
really
my type of player right there. That's my type of player. I love that type of player. So shout out to her. I thought overall the Sun got frustrated offensively, and I felt like it crept into their defense.
I agree.
They were not the defensive juggernaut consistently that they had been in the regular season. A lot of that thing is also because they missed a lot. So there was a lot of transition opportunities. They had to defend.
That game 2 loss really deflated them. They were just like, fuck.
Yeah, you could tell when they got back to Connecticut, they just didn't quite have that same, I don't know, pep in their step. It just wasn't quite. You could tell there was a little fear put into them.
They weren't as feisty on defense. Exactly. They weren't.
Well, it was kind of like, oh shit, Nafisa hadn't even showed up yet, and then
that girl
Nafisa
cold.
showed up,
and
then it was
something else. Oh my gosh, she's something else, bro. She crazy.
She's averaging 27 a game.
Insane.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like she's going. Crazy.
Like 5 assists, 7 rebounds, something crazy like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's 27. 27.1 points, while shooting 88% from the free throw line, 9.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists.
Also 4 assists and 9 rebounds. That's crazy.
With 2 blocks and a steal. I mean, she's just like
Bro,
she's taken over the entire playoffs.
that's
She's been right
crazy.
up there with Asia in terms of just individual performances in the playoffs so far. She's been right there,
You
maybe
know,
even better than Asia.
if we just took that name off there and put KD, you know what people would be saying?
You ain't wrong.
It'd be like a whole different conversation. That's
You're
what I'm
not wrong.
saying. That's ridiculous. Those are ridiculous numbers for the playoffs. That's amazing. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, talk about elevating your level of play. I mean, good
Seriously.
lord, good lord.
And she
Well,
really doesn't have like a dominant number 2 either. It's like all on her back. It's crazy.
yeah, I mean, in terms of star power, yeah, I would agree.
Power,
She's
yeah, that's what
really
I'm
the
saying.
only
Yeah.
like star. Not to discredit what Courtney Williams and Caitlin McBride can be as players. They're very good players, but it's more like when you think
11
about
and 5,
those.
not a star. Courtney
Yeah, I'm
Williams
saying
is really good. But 11
it's yeah, it's like when you think about those Mavericks teams that were going to the finals with Dirk. It's like, yeah, Jason Terry is a very good player, very good player.
right.
That's not a star. That's not Dwayne
It's
Wade
not a star.
going with him.
Exactly. That's fair. I'll give you that.
Let's talk about the finals though, Joe. Let's just talk right now, kind of the storyline that's most interesting to you. We'll get into the matchups and who we think is going to win later. But what's kind of the storyline that you're interested in with this WNBA Finals, Liberty versus the Lynx, 1 versus 2?
Can the duo get it done? Can the duo win the championship and start their own dynasty and start their own trend? We saw the Aces have a dynasty almost and almost go for the three-peat. I think I would say they are a dynasty. How long they've been dominant for? They may not have won the chip every year, but they're getting there, or they're breaking records and being competitive. I think they need to win the chip to make it a dynasty. Maybe I'll say that.
They
But
probably
if
need
the
one.
Liberty, one more, yeah. But if the Liberty can win this, it can be the start of one. Like when the Golden State Warriors went to the finals, lost one, then won it, and then just snowball from there. So that's going to be my what to see, because I feel like they have a lot of pressure because they're the 2 biggest stars. They should probably be the heavy favorites to win it. I was just looking at ESPN and had them a 63% or 69% favorite to win game 1. So I think they're going to be going a heavy favorite. So all the pressure is on them. They got the biggest star names, so I want to see if they can actually show up and not choke. It's easy because they didn't really look great playing against the Aces last year in the finals. So they got a little redemption to do. That's some pressure that people really don't understand and realize until they actually get into that situation. They're going to feel that pressure. The media is going to talk about it. Everybody's going to be talking about it. As a player, you try to ignore it, but you can't ignore that shit. So I think that's going to be the biggest storyline to see if the duo can actually get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We were talking about this pre-show, but like Sabrina Ionescu had a ton of star power at one point. Like when she was in college, she kind of had not obviously not to the extent that Caitlin Clark had, but she was similar. Like there was a moment where it was kind of like, oh,
she was like one of the first
special.
WNBA players to get a shoe.
Yeah, I mean, like, and just like the way
right
she
out of
shot
college.
threes,
Oh,
the
yeah.
way she could pass. Like, I mean, like it was very similar to Caitlin Clark when she was in college. Obviously, never got the media fame, but in terms of a player, very similar, I think. That's interesting to see if she can get her
Better
first. But
shooter.
I really think the interesting thing here is the ascent of Nafisa Collier. Like runner up in MVP voting, but if she all of a sudden could come in and win this championship, that would be the 5th for the Minnesota Lynx, who are one of the more storied and successful WNBA franchises.
Damn, it sure would be.
I like the ascent of Nafisa Collier being kind of the next great Lynx player is very interesting to me, and I think just her starting because like we just said, it's not Stewie and Ionescu, it's Nafisa Collier. Like that's it. Like that's really in terms of star power. Can she take on that 2-headed monster, kind of 3-headed monster in New York when you add in Jonquel Jones as well? Like that's a legit pretty big 3 there in New York.
Oh yeah.
Versus, her and some good role players. So
damn, it really is the Miami Heat versus the Dallas Mavericks. That's crazy. That's nuts.
And I mean, just the way that she does it on both ends of the basket, like on both ends of the court, like offense, defense.
She's
I mean,
unstoppable.
I'm all the way locked into her kind of blossoming stardom within the WNBA. So I'm excited for that. Let's talk key matchups, Joe. What's kind of the matchup that you're kind of most in? The matchup you think is going to impact the series the most?
Courtney Williams versus Sabrina Ionescu. I think that if Courtney Williams, I don't need you to be as explosive offensively. You can keep doing what you're doing. It's nice if you do, but you got to get Sabrina off rhythm. I've seen games where Sabrina Ionescu, if you get her off rhythm early, she can struggle throughout the entire game. She may have an
Game 3.
explosive moment in the fourth quarter. She may have a couple of moments, but you can knock her out of a game if you get her distracted and get her off her rhythm early on. So that's going to be the biggest matchup to me because Stewie going Stewie. I think it's going to be tough because you don't want Nafisha on Stewie because, I mean, I guess you're going to put her on there at times, but you don't want her on there all the time because you need her offense. Unless someone else can prove that they can step up, then you can say, okay, Nafisha, you got Stewie for the next 5 minutes, and then we're gonna take you off, stuff like that. But I think Courtney Williams is gonna be key on Sabrina if she can make her hesitate and just get her out of her game because Sabrina can get sucked out the game if you do it right and you get her out of her mind early on. So that's gonna be a key matchup for me.
Yeah, it was like late into the third, maybe even early fourth quarter of game 3 that Sabrina got her first point, and it was off of a
That's what I'm saying.
technical free throw.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like she even went and got herself a bucket. So, like, you're right. That can definitely happen. I think a key element to that, Joe, is how they play pick and roll. Are they going to just leave kind of Courtney on an island and hedge, or are they going to blitz her? I think when you blitz her, you have a better shot of knocking her off her game. The only risk you run there is
Gotta mix it
obviously if
up.
you do blitz her, she's a very good passer, and that can put you at a severe disadvantage, especially when one of
I
the
don't
people
mind
that can
turning
be
her
on
into
the
a passer. You don't mind turning
yeah,
her
but
into a passer unless everybody starts making shots, and then now you're screwed.
well, the issue to me there, Joe, is that when you turn into a passer by doubling her and blitzing her, it can give Stewie some advantageous 4-on-3s, and that's a really hard to stop.
Stewie gonna get
So
hers, man.
unless
I
you
get it, but
unless
she gonna
you
get hers.
unless you deflect the pass and really make them reset their offense, which the Aces were able to do very well in Game 3. Otherwise, it can kind of backfire. And so I like that as a key matchup, Joe. I'll go for a different one, and you touched on it briefly. Nafisa versus Stewie. That's can either one of them affect the other from the defensive end enough to create that much more of an advantage for their team?
It's a lot to
If
ask. Whew.
Stewie's putting up 3 and 4 blocks again in this series, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be real tough. Um, if Nafisa is putting up 2 blocks a game and it's kind of rattling Stewie, because look, Stewie is an all-timer already, but we did see last year the Aces able to kind of get into her, bother her, make her pretty inefficient, and
She gets
she had
frustrated and she does that. I'm gonna get this move off and prove to you that I can make this move work. And you're just like, stop trying it. Like it's not working tonight. She does get into that mode a lot. I get that.
yeah. So if they can kind of turn it into this one-on-one thing where Stewie's trying to beat Nafisa and you know Nafisa can do her best
Good
to make
point.
her inefficient while still scoring on the offensive end for her, that's advantage. That's advantage Minnesota. I don't know. that's that's a lot to ask. That's a whole lot to ask someone making their first finals appearance. So we'll see. But now that we've gone through some key matchups, prediction time, Joe. Who's gonna win? How many games? What you think? Tell me why.
It's still a 5-game series.
Yep.
Man, I'm gonna go with Liberty. I'm gonna go with Liberty in 5. I'm gonna go Liberty in 5. I think that Nafisha will be able to get 2. I respect. She's gonna have some games, but I just think it's too much. I mean, it's just too much. I mean, we've seen it happen before in the NBA though, where the one
Mm-hmm.
star has won, but we haven't seen just a team with one star, one all-star win a championship in a long time. So it would be amazing if they do, but the Liberty just have too much firepower. Stewie and Sabrina are 2 superstars. They've been here and they got to redeem themselves. So I'm gonna take the Liberty in 5.
Yeah. I'll be rooting for the Lynx for sure. Um,
It's too
you know what
much.
I hate to say this, Joe, but you know what it kind of reminds me of? Just a couple years ago, my Heat playing the Nuggets.
Oh yeah,
Jimmy
That's
versus
fair.
Jimmy versus Jokic and Jamal Murray,
You
and
just
it was
know
just
it's
like,
no,
like I want it to happen. I want it to happen real bad.
no.
I just don't think it's gonna happen. Like, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Liberty in 4. I think Nafisa is good enough to not get swept. I just think it's asking too much of her to slow down Stewie and be the leading scorer, and not just be the leading scorer, but she's got to put up like she's going to need to do the 27 to 30 points per game
Every night.
in order for them to win. Like she's got to do that 3 times while locking up one of the best players ever graced the women's game. So like I can't see it happening. I hope it does. I'll be rooting for it. Go Nafisa, go St. Louis, but yeah, I'm with you. And I don't think they have an answer for Jonquel Jones. The one thing that the Aces could do is they could get Jonquel Jones in foul trouble, and that really does. She's a great
Something.
screen setter. She can shoot the 3. She spaces the floor really well for them.
They really don't have the
don't
size.
know who's gonna
You're
get her
right.
in foul trouble. Like maybe Nafisa can draw her help and get into her body and get some fouls called on her, but again, this is asking a lot.
That's a strong body. I don't think you. Yeah, that's tough. I forgot about that matchup. They don't have anybody to match up with her. She's gonna be key. I didn't think about that. That's pretty good. Damn.
It's tough out there for the Lynx, but we'll see. Maybe in the off season, they can add another piece or two. We'll see. But
It's gonna
tap in.
start getting hard to add pieces, with the expansion and everything. So
Yeah, true.
it's gonna start getting hard to add players.
Maybe the Liberty lose a piece. You never know. You never know how it's all going to work out.
They still gonna have 2 stars, so it don't matter.
But we'll tap in
not the NBA.
again. Hopefully, I believe this weekend, right, Joe? With the WNBA Finals, we'll tap in.
Yeah, we'll tap
Saturday,
in.
Sunday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then we'll be on Friday
Sunday,
for
probably.
our
I got
picks.
work Saturday.
Bet. We'll tap in Friday for the NFL. But you know how we end this show, Joe? We choose love. We choose violence. What do you got?
I'm gonna choose love. I'm gonna choose love for the most boring sport in the world, and that's baseball. And they actually are being highly entertaining with these playoffs. I love the players' flair. I love the fan flair. I feel like when you watch highlights from basketball back in the 80s and 90s, and I don't even watch the players. I look at the stands and like, these fans are crazy. These fans are rowdy as fuck. What is going on here? I think that whole atmosphere needs to come back, and I think they're slowly bringing that back into baseball. They try not to do it, but then when the players embrace it and it happens, it's highly entertaining, and it makes baseball fun to watch when you see shit like that happen. Like people want to see Tatis hit a home run and stare at it, and we want to see Profar, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We like to see him to play with the fans and dance and gyrate. People like that entertaining shit. People loved when Ozzie Smith was doing backflips and shit like that. Like that stuff is entertaining. At the end of the day, I know it's a sport, but it's also a television show. Make it entertaining, and they have done a great job, which I'm gonna give them credit for because they usually don't do a good job. Baseball is very good at having a great opportunity in their hands and fumbling it. So hopefully they don't mess this up and they tell the players to embrace it, and they kind of. If I was Major League Baseball, I would totally promo that and embrace that rivalry and try to create a rivalry there with that and make it more fun and entertaining. So hopefully they do that. I'm gonna give them a shout out because the playoff has actually been fun. More 4:00 games. That shit is great too, by the way.
Yeah, I think the NL side has been entertaining. The AL side has not been that entertaining to me.
I'll give you
But
that.
I think you know what it stems from though is the NLDS is 2 division rivalries. You've got Dodgers, Mets playing Dodgers.
All right. They see each other
Padres
all the
playing
time.
each other. They already don't like each other. Phillies, Mets, they're division rivals. They don't like each other, and that's just added to that kind of stuff that you're talking about. That extra jawing and theatrics and all that. I love it.
And everybody's waiting for the Mets to fall flat on their face like they always do.
They
It's
just
like, when is it gonna happen?
They
Damn.
just advance the NLCS. I know.
Oh, fuck.
I know.
Gee.
But I like that one, Joe. I like that one. I'll kind of double down on that, but I'm gonna choose love. Got to go to my Miami Heat. Show some love to Pat Riley. He's getting the Coach K treatment. It's gonna be the Pat Riley Court at the Kaseya Center in Miami, debuting this year. So shout out to the GOAT. Shout out to the GOAT. for
That's
putting
crazy.
together a good run here in Miami. So shout out to him getting.
Is
The
it only
trophy
gonna be
got
for
to him.
one day, or are they actually gonna name it for the whole thing?
No, we're not some frauds like the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is the Pat Riley court.
I just go. No, he deserves that.
Yeah, he does.
He deserves that. He deserves more than one.
Hey,
Knicks might as well.
you're not right. The Knicks and Lakers. He did
Right.
some things with all them franchises. But we are 3 and possible. We are out.
Oh wait.
Huh?
Oh, you didn't stop it. Oh, I told you about Mizzou and Eli Dream.